Iran's new president Pezeshkian has warned Israel against attacking Lebanon during a call with French President Emmanuel Macron. He said that the Zionist regime will make a great mistake with heavy consequences if it attacks Lebanon. This comes after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the site of the rocket strike which killed 12 children in the town of Majd al-Shams. During his visit, Netanyahu warned that Israel's response will be severe. The Israeli army has arrested 9 soldiers for allegedly torturing a Gaza prisoner. Following the allegations, the military launched an investigation and took the accused personnel for questioning. Meanwhile, Israelis started demonstrations and protests at the gates of the prison where 9 soldiers have been detained. They're opposing the soldiers' arrest by waving the Israeli national flag and chanting shame. Reports suggest that the Palestinian prisoner abused by the IDF was admitted to a hospital following severe injuries that rendered him incapable of walking. Moscow has claimed fresh gains in Ukraine. The Russian forces are waging heaviest battles near Ukraine's strategic eastern city of Pokrovsk to break through the key logistics hub. Russia's defense ministry said that its troops have already taken the 2 key villages in east of Pokrovsk. The invading Russian troops have been slowly but consistently gaining ground in the region's frontline areas. The assaults are threatening the integral supply route for the Ukrainian forces. The United States has announced new $1.7 billion military aid for Ukraine that contains air defense munitions and artillery rounds. The aid includes $200 million in equipment that will be drawn from existing U.S. military stocks that will arrive in Ukraine as early as possible. The assistance will provide Ukraine with several air defense munitions to protect against Russian strikes, artillery rounds, ammunition for HIMARS, precision rocket launchers, and multiple kinds of anti-tank weapons, among other capabilities. With only 6 months left for his presidential term to end, U.S. President Joe Biden has seemingly set sight on major reforms in the U.S. Supreme Court. The president has issued a call for major reforms to tenure limits on Supreme Court justices. Further, Biden has also asked U.S. lawmakers to ratify a constitutional amendment limiting presidential immunity. Biden's push for Supreme Court reforms comes mere 90 days away from the U.S. presidential elections. New information has emerged from assassination attempt of former U.S. President Donald Trump. FBI revealed that the shooter was identified by the law enforcement officers 90 minutes before he tried to assassinate Republican presidential candidate. According to the FBI's information, a local officer took a picture of the gunman Thomas Crooks before he opened fire. He'd also shared the image with other law enforcement officials. FBI has been putting together the lapses in Trump's security, even though it's not the designated agency to investigate the incident. Israel has accused Lebanon's Hezbollah of being responsible for the deadly attack on Golan Heights. The strike has pushed the foes on the brink of an all-out conflict. Hezbollah, however, has denied these allegations. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant has briefed his U.S. counterpart Lloyd Austin on the missile attack. As tensions escalate, the UK has advised British nationals to leave Lebanon and not to travel to the country. Several countries like India and Germany have also issued travel advisories and emergency contact numbers for its nationals in Lebanon. At least 140 people injured in southern Russia's Volgograd region. This comes after a train carrying 800 passengers smashed into a truck on level crossing. leading to the derailment of 8 carriages. Meanwhile, the Russian rail company said that the collision happened after the signal for the train was given. A probe is currently underway for potential violations of traffic rules and operation of railways. Two children have been stabbed to death at a dance class in northwest England. The attacker wounded at least 9 other children, 6 of them critically. 2 adults were also in critical condition. Armed officers arrived and detained the suspect and seized a knife. As per the Merseyside police, multiple people, many of whom were children, had been subjected to a ferocious attack. Police said the adults who were injured were trying to protect the children. The incident occurred at a Taylor Swift-themed event. At least one person has been killed after security forces in Venezuela responded to protests as demonstrators took to the streets angered by the announcement of the victory of Nicolas Maduro in the country's presidential election. This comes after the political opposition and the incumbent both claimed victory. Thousands of demonstrators protested against what they said was an attempt by Maduro to steal the country's disputed election. Security forces fired tear gas and rubber bullets at the protesters. Seoul spy agency has claimed that North Korean Supremo Kim Jongun is grooming his preteen daughter Kim Jae as a successor to lead the Hermit Kingdom. This comes amid speculations that after Kim Jae made her first public appearance 2 years ago. The role of Kim's daughter in the state propaganda shows there's another generation waiting to run the family dynasty. According to Seoul, the North Korean leader has been battling several health problems. This has raised concerns of his succession in the past few years. Sri Lanka's incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe has failed to get the backing of the country's largest political party for his re-election bid. This poses a major challenge for him to secure the leadership in the September 21st vote. It was critical for Wickremesinghe to secure support of SLPP as the party holds most seats in the parliament. Even though SLPP has not backed him, 2 of the party's members have endorsed Wickremesinghe. Former Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa and his brother are key members of the SLPP. Eighteen coaches of a train going from Howrah to Mumbai have derailed in the Indian state of Jharkhand, killing at least 2 and leaving 20 others. Mumbai-Howrah train derailed at about 3:45 a.m. local time. The accident occurred 80 kilometers from Jamshedpur. The railways officials said that there was another derailment of goods trains nearby, but it was not yet clear whether the 2 accidents occurred concurrently. Several trains on the route have been cancelled or diverted after the mishap. "24 people, including children, have died in landslides that hit Kerala's hilly Wayanad district, while hundreds of people are suspected to be trapped. The Kerala State Disaster Management Authority has deployed 250 members of the Fire Force and National Disaster Response Force teams to the affected areas. With an additional NDRF team on its way to Wayanad, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees. That's about $2,000 for the cane of each deceased in the landslides. The Indian Met Department issued red alert for 4 districts in the region. Temperatures are rising in Paris as the city continues to host the ongoing Olympic Games, while Monday already recorded a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Experts are warning that the temperature could go as high as 36 degrees Celsius. Athletes are feeling the heat, which is affecting their performance and health. Organizers in Paris have said that they have arranged for over 1,200 water coolers across the city. Mist mountains have also been installed to help spectators and tourists cool off. Sweden's economy likely contracted in the June quarter for the first time in a year, if a flash indicator is to be believed. High interest rates have dampened investment and consumption. If the estimate, which is prone to significant revisions, holds, it would mark the largest decline since the final quarter of 2022. Statistics Sweden reported that the GDP fell 1.8% in the June quarter. This comes after a stronger than expected expansion of 0.7% in the March quarter. According to the numbers, the biggest Nordic nation will need to see more than a token interest rate cut anticipated. This week, the European Central Bank will receive a deluge of economic data. This will be vital in determining whether or not the bank will resume interest rate cuts in September. Predictions show inflation at 2.5% for a second consecutive month. The core inflation index, which does not include energy and food prices, may provide some respite. Experts estimate a slight decline to 2.8%. The ECB kept interest rates on hold this month, with officials emphasizing that a slew of economic data due by September will determine the next move. The Bank of England is likely to cut interest rates with expectations on a knife's edge for such a move. However, the bank is also expected to warn of a slow cycle of easing. For the first time since the pandemic, most analysts predict a rate cut. However, investors are not sure. They're banking on a 45% likelihood of a quarter-point drop at the meeting on the 1st of August. BOE Governor Andrew Bailey's silence since May, it's added to the uncertainty. The UK economy is anticipated to gain steam this year and the next, unlike prior easing cycles which pose the danger of inflationary pressures. The steady recovery in global demand for commodities helped boost Vietnam's exports, rose at the fastest pace since January. Data showed shipments rose 19.1% in July, marking the fifth straight month of growth. Exports increased by 42% in January, so this is the largest increase since then. Imports rose by 24.7%, narrowing the trade surplus to $2.1 billion, down from $2.9 billion in June. The latest figures underline the recovery in the world trade. However, the outlook is still clouded by geopolitical risks in West Asia and on the edge of Europe. According to Malaysia's foreign ministry, Russia will support the country's bid to join the BRICS economic group. This comes as Moscow seeks to increase its influence in the global south. Malaysia's foreign ministry said Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim was assured of Russia's support during his two-day visit to Moscow by Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov. In a separate statement, Anwar claimed that the nation had applied to join the bloc, which is headed by Russia. Being a member of the BRICS group gives countries a political platform independent of Washington's sway and access to funding. Multiple French telecommunications lines, including fiber, fixed and mobile phone services, were affected as cities around France host events for the 2024 Paris Olympics. The French government has said that the disruption is due to acts of vandalism. The telecommunication outage comes days after arson attacks disrupted train networks around France just hours before the Olympics opening ceremony. Organizers for the Paris Games say their operations were not affected. A New York district court has made it mandatory for U.S. border agents to obtain a warrant before searching electronic devices of both Americans and international travelers. The court cited that the border searches of electronic devices go against certain amendment rights such as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, and freedom of the press. The ruling is set to take effect across the Eastern District of New York, including the John F. Kennedy International Airport. Elon Musk has accused Google of interfering in the 2024 US elections. On his social media platform X, Musk posted a screenshot of Google's search as evidence for the alleged election interference. Musk claims a search for President Donald is showing President Donald Reagan instead of Donald Trump. Musk warned Google of trouble if they interfere with the election. According to a Moody's ratings report, data center capacity in the Asia-Pacific region will double in the next 5 years. The APAC region is expected to constitute about 30% of global capacity expansion over the next 5 years. According to the report, the increase in the adoption of AI technology and cloud computing can be credited for the increase in Asia-Pacific region's data center capacity.